My name is Ian Megahey. I'm head of sales here at WorkPal. I've been with the company now for just over 6 years, so I'm slowly becoming part of the furniture. And what is nice about my sort of tenure with WorkPal is I've seen the company go from strength to strength, both in the platform itself and in the company. So we've grown over the last 10 years. The WorkPal started 10 years ago, and how it started was we're actually part of a larger telecommunications company. We have actually since split into our own unique entity, and we are probably a month away from moving into our very first dedicated WorkPal office. So we've, for the past 10 years, been part of our parent company, Barclay Communications. This is just a little overview. We've got 3 WorkPal offices, soon to open our 4th in mainland UK, mainland England, just north of London. So we have grown substantially over the last 10 years. We now have WorkPal in over 500 companies, and they range vastly in the industries and the sectors. But the core understanding of what WorkPal can do is improving your mobile working and getting data site in real time. The system itself has, as I say, developed greatly over the last 10 years. New features, improving the functionality of the platform. We started with 1 software developer. It was actually a company approached us and asked us to build a platform for them to manage their jobs and their mobile workflow. So what we did was we hired 1 software developer. We built the core platform with him, who's still with us today, Warren Black, who is now our lead software developer. But we've now got 10 software developers that work directly for us. And if we could take another 10 on tomorrow, we would. They're tricky enough to find in today's market, but we're getting there. So we now, as a company wide across our various different departments in Barclay, is 100+ employees across various different departments. And as I say, we are growing at a rapid rate. The solution itself, WorkPal, is a really easy to use, simple web interface which you can access via the cloud. So WorkPal, when we set a brand new WorkPal customer up, they have their own unique URL, and anyone that is in the office or needs access to that desktop office side of things, they would access that through a web browser. And then we've got an iOS and an Android application for anyone working out on site. So we're on the App Store as well, so it couldn't be easier to actually gain access to the WorkPal app or the web interface. Another element of the solution that we offer as a company is onboarding. So we have invested heavily in actually bringing our new customers on in the best possible way. We have 2 implementation managers. So when a new customer actually is brought on board, you would have access to that dedicated implementation team. Alongside some of the other team, we've got a tech support team, customer success managers as well, to ensure that every customer gets the best out of their WorkPal platform and are introduced to new features. So the way that we develop WorkPal is very customer driven, and we're always listening to our customers and building the next feature or features that they want to see in the system. And we've got some really, really exciting ones launching before the end of the year. To give everyone an overview of what WorkPal actually can do in terms of the key features: job management, from that initial incoming inquiry or from that help desk right through to job completion, be that on a very short job or a job lasting a bit longer. WorkPal will manage everything from that initial job allocation right through to job completion. Health and safety, vehicle checks, lone worker. WorkPal has been designed to improve your health and safety compliance in a major way. So the way that the system works is if we set up a new customer and there has to be health and safety done at various points in the workflow, we can build that in. so that it is ensured that those are done. So one example that you'll maybe see in a little bit of time is if you have a mobile worker and they clock in every morning through the WorkPal application, we can enforce that they have to do a vehicle check. And I know that is becoming more and more important to have those sort of checks done. Health and safety as well. Digital forms is encompassed in that feature, which you'll see too. Invoicing, so we fully integrate WorkPal into quite a number of different accountancy software solutions. When it comes to integrations, we're more than happy to discuss them on a case-by-case basis. However, we have some brilliant standardized integrations that are plug and play. However, as I know very well, having been here for so long, that customers that we work with have their own sort of little unique software platforms that sometimes need integration, and we have looked at that and built some really good ones. Just to give you one example, we supply a lot of companies that work with NI Water. NI Water use a system called Ellipse, and we've built an integration for any NI Water customer, NI Water subcontractor, so that they can link instantly into that platform. So that's just one example. Image capture and generally data capture from site through the WorkPal application is just so core to what WorkPal is. And just prior to us jumping on our call, we're discussing the impact market impacts of lockdown. And I have to say, over lockdown, I saw a lot of companies that were sort of scrambling to get a platform like WorkPal in place so that they could get that real-time data capture. They couldn't have people from site coming back into the office to drop off paperwork, images, whatever it might have been. So we actually saw quite an uplift in customers taking WorkPal on over lockdown, and that has continued on. But really, data capture from the WorkPal application and getting the data in a workable, reportable format. So it's not only taking the data from site, it's also organizing the data and feeding it into a format that allows people in the business to manage the business going forward for many different aspects. Which leads me very nicely into KPI reporting and time tracking, two features sort of built into one. All of the data that's captured from site or through the system, be that time and attendance information, work in progress information, health and safety. There are so many different data sets that can be reported upon. And actually, it's any strand of data that's captured, be it, as I say, time and attendance or something through a digital form that is built to spec, that can be pulled into a workable report. And it's a hugely important part of the system. Digital forms, we build digital forms into the system, custom digital forms as well, and we also have a brilliant standardized set. So we're always looking for new forms to add to our standard set. So for example, we've got gas certificates, electrical, but also COVID-19 health and safety, COVID-19 risk assessments. There's a whole world, but when we implement WorkPal for a new customer, they often have paper or PDF forms that need to be integrated into WorkPal, and we build those to spec. Work scheduling and allocations. So we have a drag and drop scheduling feature, which a lot of our customers absolutely love, and it's a feature that's continually improving. It could nearly be a feature, it could nearly be a system in itself. It's so good now, and it's all color coded. It's very dependent on what the status of that work is, so it changes color in real time as the status changes. And as I say, it's always being improved upon, and that's a major feature of WorkPal that sometimes people forget. Is, as I say, we've got 10 software developers. That team's growing, but we've got 10 here in Belfast that are always improving the system. So you can probably imagine yourself how good is WorkPal going to become. It's already very, very good, but it's always improving, and that's something that's a great benefit. We have two different types of portals and many types of users in WorkPal. So we've got our mobile users, our desktop, help desk users, which all have different levels of access. We have client portal users that a lot of our clients would give their major or minor clients, and it gives them a certain level of access to perhaps access digital forms, health and safety, job progress. It's very much specific to what you want the customer to see. And then we also have subcontractor portals. So we would supply a lot of FM companies that work with subcontractors, and they can allocate work directly to the subcontractor. The subcontractor then has to follow their processes, their workflows, and all of the data that you're getting from the subcontractor is coming back in real time for you to manage SLAs, among many other different types of reports. Another feature we offer is asset management, and this is a very important feature for many customers that are tracking high value assets, servicing or maintaining high value assets as well, or low value. It's sort of a feature that's used in many different ways, to be honest. So we have a lot of clients that are in, just to give you an example, generator maintenance or boiler maintenance or aircon. So HVAC, things like that. So it's a feature that's widely used, but I'll show you a little bit on that very shortly when I just show you the system itself. But how do those features actually translate into benefits? So the number one benefit that I myself have seen through implementing WorkPal for many customers is a massive reduction in admin time. And this is really where you would see a bulk of the savings. Really what some of my customers have said is it's nearly saved them having to hire that extra member of administrative staff. The system itself just saves so much time. As you can imagine, any company that may be using paper, having that paper back weeks later perhaps, then plugging the information back into an Excel or sending it somewhere else, and huge reduction in admin time right across the board, including increased visibility, massive reduction in paper if you are paper-based. Many companies have now adopted systems that are maybe outdated or maybe not standing the test of time. So we've sort of, over the last 10 years, seen a transition from companies that have been predominantly paper-based to companies that have maybe built their own platform that hasn't stood the test of time, or maybe it's just not quite up to date as to where they would like it. And I have to say, with a lot of the customers that we've brought on board, the staff, the team absolutely love it. And if you do take some time after this to have a look at some of our reviews or our case studies on our website, the feedback we get from our customers is really very positive. Now, this sectors list is a very small cross section of just some of the industries that we're quite popular in. You can see there yourself, it's sort of vast and varied, but I mean, over lockdown, we actually saw a massive uplift in companies that we never would have believed would have used WorkPal. So we supply quite a lot of gym, sports equipment companies that are installing and maintaining. You know, the list is really quite vast, and it always surprises me what company is going to take WorkPal on next, because it's surprising how flexible the platform is. Mark, you're still with me, are you?
I am indeed. Yeah.
Okay, I believe, right. I was just checking that I wasn't speaking and no one could hear me. But some of the accreditations, we're always working towards being the best, having the best accreditations, and we are ISO certified 9001 and 27001, and we're also on the G Cloud, so we are starting to look into working with some of the public sector as well. However, predominantly we would supply the private sector at the moment, but we're always wanting to improve. This is a little cross section of some of the customers that we have. I sort of handpicked some that you may recognize. As you can see, it is vast and varied. We actually supply the Titanic Museum with WorkPal for them to manage their internal maintenance across all of their various sites, and then they also link their subcontractors with WorkPal too. So slightly different. You can see Black Box Fitness, as I said, we're now supplying the gym equipment company. But what do all of these customers have in common is they have a mobile workforce out completing jobs or projects, and it's really, that is the core of it. Adina, who you can see there just at the bottom, actually brought WorkPal on right at the beginning of lockdown. They've got 85 service technicians across the world. Actually, they use WorkPal in Australia as well as Northern Ireland and mainland UK. So they massive amount of digital forms that they had, but yes, vast and varied, and we work with many different types of companies. And what I would say to anyone on this webinar today is what we offer as a company is if you're interested in looking at WorkPal more specifically for your company, or more specifically for your requirement. So there may be a requirement in your company from a health and safety perspective, for example. We can tailor the platform to suit that, to solve that requirement, or it might be something more broad where the system. But what we offer is a one-to-one tailored demonstration. If we are, as I was saying to Mark, we're doing a lot via Teams video call. However, we can still get out and see you as well. Okay, so we're just past a quarter past. So what I'm going to do now is just change my screen to show you a little bit of WorkPal itself. Mark, just you can keep me right here. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, we can indeed, yes.
So this is actually just my demonstration platform, and what I've done for today is I've tailored this just for the Construction Employers Federation. And in every WorkPal platform, you can completely configure the platform yourself. So you can brand it, you can input automated email addresses, so you can have email triggers. I think I'm hotspotting here, so it's a little bit slower than normal, but here we go. So it's added in the CEF logo, I've added in the CEF address, and all of this data also goes on to digital forms. So if you have a risk assessment, then the CEF logo would go on along with all of the other information. But there is a world, this is like the back engine of your WorkPal platform, where you can pick and choose the features that you want to make use of. You can build your own workflows, you can enforce photographs are taken, you can enforce that risk assessments are done or vehicle checks, but there's so much you can do in here. You can also manage all of your digital forms. That the client I mentioned earlier, Adina, have 25 digital forms, all of which are custom to them. So yes, there is a world of customization available, and what we offer as part of our implementation service is assistance with onboarding as well as training, and we try to make that as smooth a transition. We know adopting a new software solution can be daunting. However, we have a really great team on hand. So where I've clicked into here, and I'm going to do a speed WorkPal demo. What we would do if we were doing it one-to-one is take a little bit more time. But what we have here is clients in the system. I've chosen a multi-site client here, which is Glenpatrick FM. And I can see that there are 70 sites associated with this client. So if I was to click into one of these sites, what this does is it gives me an overview. And I have pretty much every feature on the system turned on at the moment, but I can go down and I can see we have some assets on site. And if I was to choose one of these jobs that were completed, this is giving me an overview of the job. So this job was completed on the 21st of January 21. As you can see, we've got time and attendance tracked. We've got Ben, who was the lead engineer, and we have another Ben who was clocked in alongside him to assist with the job. And that could be a subcontractor, could be someone on site that needs logged against that. So we're tracking time as well as attendance on site. We have task management, we have part management, and we're able to track the materials and run reports on that. And down here, right at the bottom, we can see anything that relates to the job. So attaching documents to jobs, be that site plans, RAMs, method statements, toolbox talks, you can attach documentation in here, which then allows people on site to access if you give them that requirement. Photograph capture as well, so I can see this job relates to a security door. And what you can actually do within WorkPal is barcode or QR code assets, and then someone on site is able to scan them. So in this case, we have a QR code attached to the door. Now this is actually, the pictures are actually I asked permission to use these, by the way, but this is a client that worked with London Underground, and I think they're working on behalf of NG, and they service and maintain all of the doors for London Underground, and they barcoded every single door. But photograph capture, we can see that from site. We can also see any signatures that were captured, and over lockdown, we actually built a contactless signature capture, and that allows signatures to be captured from a distance to ensure that there is no contamination on devices. We can see there is a job sheet attached, and this, as I say, will have the CEF branding, and this job sheet can be completely configured. It can be automatically emailed as well on completion, and which we can see it has been. And attached as well, we've got a digital form, which is in this case a COVID-19 risk assessment done via the WorkPal application. So when it comes to digital forms and compliance on those forms, it's a very beneficial solution for that. And I can also see there's a quotation attached. So we have quotation management as well as invoice management. But when it comes to actually setting the platform up, guys, we can pick and choose the features that are most beneficial. So if we wanted to actually schedule a job out, we have our job list, and we have our drag and drop scheduling tool. So what I can do by clicking into the schedule, we have a lot of different people assigned in here, is I can take a job, and I'm going to give this job to and I wouldn't be giving it to Charles, Chris, or Anita, because I can see we've got absence management in the system now as well, so I wouldn't be giving it to one of them. And as soon as Ben actually receives that job on his device, it should be pretty quick. That job will change from grey to red, which it just has done, and the job changes color depending on the status of the work. Now, let me see, I'm keeping a very close eye on the clock, but we're okay for time just yet. I'm going to give everyone an insight into the WorkPal application here. Now, Mark, you can keep me right. Can you see my mobile app?
Yes, we can. Yep, jobs, start shift, vehicle check, and so on. Yeah.
So this is actually currently on my iPhone. However, a lot of our customers would use larger tablets, ruggedized as well. Something that we are also able to provide is the telecoms side piece as well. But what we're able to do is build in a workflow so that everybody that has that is on site has to follow the same workflow. So one example of that is if I was the engineer, the on-site worker, and I clock in the morning, it can enforce that I do my vehicle check. So I'll choose the Volkswagen that I'm in. I'll input the mileage. I will tick down to confirm the vehicle's been checked. We can also include some photograph capture. So if there was maybe a wing mirror damaged, we could take a picture of that, and then I'll just sign it off. So signature capture, both from the customer and from myself. And that's my shift timer ticking away there. It'll also kickstart a little bit of GPS tracking, and I can then go in and see what I have planned for the day. So if we choose one of these jobs, I'm going to choose, let me see if there's one nearby. We'll choose, here's a job, we'll choose this one. So I can see detail of the site. We've also got directions. So I can get directions from where I'm sitting today up to site. There we go, 32 minutes. So we've got SatNav integrated, and I can then see all of the detail of the job. So we've got tasks, we have documents right at the bottom. So that is probably a set of RAMs. Yep. So I can then access whatever I need to on the job. And if I'm ready to actually start my job, this is giving you an insight into the health and safety side of things. We can enforce, this is a point of work risk assessment. So I can, let's choose working at heights, overhead electric cables, and I will just sign off on that again. And that's my job timer kicked off. Now, the last thing, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this today, but digital forms, as I say, a major part of the system, and we build these into spec and code, and they can be highly customizable to include photograph capture, and we build them in such a format that it's nice and simple. So it's tick boxes, drop down boxes, and we can enforce signatures and things like that. So I'll just complete, I haven't gone through the whole form, but I'll save that. And that hopefully has given everyone an insight into what the WorkPal application is like. Very, very easy to use. And also we're able to see at a glance the job itself. So the job that we are on is 392. Let's just grab that job. And you can see in real time that job is ticking away there. We've got our digital form completed, which was the oil firing. That was the job, the form that we just completed. And that's sort of what WorkPal is all about, from allocating jobs on the application. There's a lot more there I could show you. We've got our vehicle checks and our fleet. As I say, this is a bit of a speed demo. There's our vehicle check with our picture attached, all in real time, and it's a very nice, easy system to use. Okay, so I'm going to now ask, I've got 3 minutes left. I'm going to ask Mark if he has any questions.
Yeah,
yes.
that's fantastic. That was a good fly through. I mean, just from the industry point of view, obviously, nothing but rising costs at the minute everywhere, and clients demanding more, so that there's a definite need for improved efficiency and productivity. A system like this, is this a big bang implementation? Do we have to do the whole company onto WorkPal, or can we step up towards it or phase it in parts?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mark. So what we have done with many of our customers, one of which actually was brought on, not that it was brought on quite recently, that is a CEF member, LM Services. We have seen a lot of customers that decide to roll WorkPal out on a contract by contract basis. Oftentimes that there may be a system in the background that has been in for a long time. And what we have done in the past is roll WorkPal out in a sort of staged approach, and it becomes much easier to do in that case. It also will give a proof of concept as well. So what we have found is we would roll WorkPal out for maybe a contract or one part of the business, and all of a sudden it'll start growing and growing and growing because of how good it maybe would work for that part. So yes, is the answer to your question, Mark. We can roll it out on a stage sort of process or on a contract by contract basis.
Okay, no, that's interesting, and thanks. And I know you and I, when we were delighted to welcome you on board as commercial partners, we managed to strike a deal for CEF members in terms of an exclusive discount. You could maybe explain that a little bit, and maybe give us a sense of, that's the discount. What's the actual cost model as well for WorkPal?
Yeah, so we try to keep the pricing model really, really simple. So it works on a per user, per month basis. Now we do offer discounts at certain levels in terms of the user numbers, but the sort of flat rate is £35 per user per month. Now, if you are a CEF member, there is a discount on the setup fee, which is a brilliant discount. LM Services availed of that discount, and they were very happy to do that. So, but what we do also say is, if anyone on the call is interested in hearing a bit more, having a tailored demonstration and getting a proposal based on your requirements, we would do that for you. So anyone that is interested, please do drop me an email, which should be on your screen, or you can reach out just through giving us a call.
That's great. No, thanks. That's very helpful indeed.
And look at that, 11:30 on the button. I've got that down to fine art. But guys, I just want to thank everyone today. As I say, I like to keep it short and sweet, and if anyone would like to hear more, please do get in touch. But Mark, as always, thanks for your support, and I really appreciate you being on today.
I appreciate your input as well to the members, and I hope some of them find it useful and follow up with you, but appreciate your support of the Federation as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and I hopefully speak to you soon.